what's up my peeps, and welcome back to Ireland Tries the Internet. This week, I have a fun topic to cover. I will be covering and reviewing the Adventure Time kind of special episode, Obsidian. So if you like this and you want to see me cover more cartoon topics, animation, since I am a gigantic animation fan, if you can't tell from my memorabilia, then leave me a like and go ahead and click subscribe down below and turn on the bell icon. That way you can get notified whenever I make videos, because I make them every Friday/Saturday, depending on my schedule. It tends to be more Saturdays now that I'm back in school. And to all of those who are currently subscribed, hello! It's great to see you here today. I hope you enjoy this topic. I hope I am able to provide some relief to stressful days and times and minutes and such. So, let's jump into it. Here's my plan. I want to cover 3 things in this video. I'm going to cover a synopsis of the plot, and what I like about it, what I think could have been better. Classic critiques, you know. I want to cover the songs separately. I want to cover the songs. I want to say what they do for a story, because some songs, fantastic songs, don't do a lot for the story and are just kind of added in there as a fan bonus. And I'd like to say I am more inclined to like songs that have plot value. Granted, if they're not very good songs, it's a give and a take. I prefer songs that are both good and add to the character development or plot in some way, more so than I like songs that are just good for goodness sake. And then lastly, I want to cover just an overall talk about critiques and what I think this episode does for the series. Does it aid in the overall series? Is this for fans of the series? Is this for people? Can you watch this without having watched the other series? And is it still good regardless? I want to talk a little bit about audience involvement and some things that I have read in reviews of this episode. So, let's dive right in. For all of those who do not like spoilers, I will put a timestamp right here for when I am done talking about plot things. So, general overview of the plot. We got a few things going on in the story. We got a glass kingdom. We got bubblegum. I almost said bubbling already. PB and Marceline. She has so many names. She got Princess Bubblegum, we got PB, we got Bonnie. I'm probably going to stick with PB throughout the video. We got PB and Marceline, storyline, Glass Kingdom, drama going on there. And then we got the monster and kind of Marceline's family stuff, history. So there's 3 parts of this plot. So the episode starts off with us seeing this Glass Kingdom and little kids, it's princess, etc. Typical Adventure Time fashion. And they are doing a ritual where they sing a song because they think Marceline defeated this monster that's in their village or kingdom by singing this song. So they sing this terrible song as a ritual every year to keep the monster at bay kind of thing. And we're introduced to one of the main characters of the episode, this glass boy. I forget his name. He was a broken crack boy or something like that. Broken boy. There's some other official name for him that I'm messing up, but I'm going to call him Glass Boy for now. That might be correct. I have no idea. But yeah, we get him. We get how he has a crack, and he's basically made fun of in the kingdom because everybody is these perfect glass figures, and he has a crack and he feels bad about it. And these official people make fun of him, which is weird because he's a kid, but politics, I guess. And he brings up, what if Marceline didn't just sing the monster into submission but had actually defeated it? Because in a natural storyline it makes more sense for a hero to defeat the monster rather than to just plug it back up in the hole that it came from. So he's like, that doesn't make any sense, and there's a furnace in there that can heal my crack, and I want to go in there and fix it so that people won't make fun of me anymore. And then people say no. The ceremony ends. We get that little mini story snippet there. And then he steals a key, goes in there, sees the monster, tries to heal his crack. It doesn't work out because the monster's there. So he basically releases the monster into the kingdom, goes to jail, and then we get like the official opening of the episode where he goes to find Marceline to once again defeat this monster that he released, because it turned out that she hadn't killed it. Which was weird, but I'll talk more about that later. So he goes to go find her. We get a little bit of a song with Marceline and PB like doing some cute couple things in their little cottage. He travels throughout the kingdom. He runs into Choose Goose, some iconic characters like Choose Goose, Simon. Simon has a little bit of a reboot song from the song in the series that Marceline wrote, I believe. And he eventually finds Marceline, asks her for help. Marceline goes through like a flashback sequence with her and her mom, and then they go to help. PB and Marceline both go to help the kingdom. They show up. PB's excited because she is a royal gal. And if you remember from the series, she always loved those like formal gatherings, and she liked being the hero, basically. She always liked being seen as like the queen figure and stuff like that, up until the later episodes where she gets a little bit more fluid. But yeah, she gets excited to go because she wants to do all her princessly stuff and fix the problem, because it turns out that the problem was one that she couldn't fix in the past and had caused a breakup between her and Marceline. So we get a flashback sequence of Marceline singing this freaking awesome song, which I'll go into more detail later. And turns out they had a nasty breakup when they were kids, which kind of keys into some of the problems in the series we've seen between the two of them, like during the Truth Door episode. And furthermore, the sweater, the shirt, there's a lot of like little small things among the series between the two of them. But this was more the most official seeing of a flashback of the two of them in a like formal relationship with a conflict. So they had a conflict. They explained it through song. And the dragon basically just went back into the cave, maybe out of just embarrassment of being caught in the middle of their fight, or who knows, feeling angry about it. So that's how she had defeated the monster, was basically just, singing her feelings. And so she goes to repeat that song, except it doesn't work this time, because it's not like true feelings, she thinks. So she goes off to find some like true, heartfelt, painful feelings to write a song about in order to send the monster back into the cave. Meanwhile, PB is still in the kingdom trying to figure out how to fix it, because she still feels like an inner turmoil between, I tried to fix it in the past, it didn't work out, and now I still am going to try to fix it, and hopefully it works out this time, because when she showed up at the kingdom, everybody kind of didn't care about her because she was irrelevant. And BB doesn't like that. So we get some more flashback sequences about Marceline and her mom being sick, her mom leaving her behind, her feeling like a monster her whole life, even before she turned into a vampire, because of a scene we get where she sucks the soul of like a dog or something like that, and it is so sad. That is a sad scene. I cried a little bit. They went over it kind of fast, but it was sad. From both parties, from the dog part, because the dog turned out to be a mom, and the other pup showed up to the dead mom. And then also Marceline just not understanding things, and her mom looking at her terrified, which is not great for, child self-esteem, especially when she got left behind. So we get some of that. Glass Boy goes to find Marceline. He sings a song that mimics her style of edgy angst. And she's like, oh god, that's what I look like when I do this? And he's like, I love it. And she's like, I need to change. I need to change this. This isn't working. I need to be with PB because I love her. So she goes to find PB back in the kingdom. Nothing is really fixed over there. She tried her best. It just didn't work out. And they try to fix it again once they're together, and PB and Marceline get thrown into the cave that's collapsing with the dragon monster, fire monster thing, in which she sings a beautiful song and about loving each other. They kiss. The monster grows into a pretty butterfly creature, really adorable looking, and then it flies away, and Marceline and Bubblegum kind of happily ever after kind of thing. They do a little dance. Finn shows up with I can't remember their name, one of Jake's children. And I think Jake showed up in the form of a tattoo. Finn had a tattoo of Jake, and I didn't know if that meant that Jake was dead or if he is the tattoo, because you know how he does that kind of thing sometimes. So I'm thinking we're kind of gonna get that in a different episode, but we'll see. And that's basically the plot. In terms of the Glass Boy plot, turns out everybody has cracks. The princess ends up getting a crack and she gets pants instead of a dress, which is kind of fun. But then it turns out everybody in the kingdom has cracks because everything's made of glass, and glass is fragile. So of course they would all have cracks. That was a mouthful, and sorry if I left out some things, and sorry if it was explained poorly, but there was a lot that happened, because it's kind of like a movie length, almost. I think it was like an hour? 40 minutes? Not sure. It was long. It was good, but it was long. One of the things that I love about this short, or not short, but special episode, I don't know what they're called. One of the things that I love about this special episode is that you get more out of the relationship of PB and Marceline. They are so cute together. I absolutely love them so much. One of my happiest things that come out of that series is them becoming a couple at the very end. But I really like this because it adds another layer and depth to the story that gets left behind. And it also includes some of the audience members that kind of got thrown around during it, which would be queer people. Yeah. If you've seen the series, you know that you get little snippets and kind of like tales of their relationship, but you don't get like the full story. You don't really get a full flashback or anything like that I can recall. You don't really get much aside from little whispers of things and like general just relationship building between the two of them, but you don't get to see the past too much. Throughout the series, PB and Marceline's relationship kind of got tossed to the side, and so you don't really get a full focus on it until this episode, which I really appreciated that they came back to this and saw that it wasn't fully fleshed out. I'm gonna ignore the comics. I haven't read the comics, and I've heard that different things happen in the comics between the two of them, but I'm going from a strict animation standpoint. And from that point of view, you don't get a whole lot out of the relationship, and you get a whole lot from this. You get some super cute moments at the very beginning, adorable cottage life between the two of them. You get, like, their fight. You get them making up. You get a kiss. It is beautiful, I think, because it kind of tells, like, a normal relationship story, but about these two specific characters that did not get the limelight in the original series, because I mean, let's face it, the original series is called Adventure Time with Finn and Jake. So the story's gonna mainly focus on Finn and Jake. It's not Marceline and Bubblegum. Although Marceline did get a storyline, which was fantastic. Probably my highlight of the series. And that was really nice. And then you get a little bit of the relationship building between them at the very end before they finally, like, commit. But in that I like that as well. But I also like a full-fledged show geared towards two characters that got a little bit underdeveloped in terms of their romantic relationship. So that's something I really like and I really appreciate from the writers that they brought to this. Something I think was lacking a little bit was some of the subplots. I didn't really care about the subplots too much. Like, the Glass Boy subplot was kind of, like, I didn't care about him too much, and I thought his voice was annoying. I think he's the voice of Amethyst, also. And I recognized the voice, and I was like, that sounds like this character, but I just don't like them in this one for some reason. I don't know. I think it's the rasp. It might be the rasp for me. So yeah, I didn't really care for that character too much. In some of the reviews I saw, they were like, I love this character so much. It might just be me. I just might be the odd one out. I found his character to be a little bit irrelevant. He served as kind of like a plot device overall. He just was there to get Marceline and to talk to Marceline and to sing a few songs that I didn't like. So there's that. He's there. The princess was kind of nice. She was a kind of cool character, I guess, but you don't really get a whole lot from her or from the Glass Kingdom aside from the fact that they suck because they make fun of kids and broken people. And yeah, that's basically what you get from that. So I felt like that kind of storyline was a little bit lacking. And then you get the storyline between Marceline and her mom, and that I also felt was a little lacking. Like, most of it felt like if that hadn't been there, it would have been something I inferred from the original series. And so I feel like it didn't add a whole lot to some missing aspects of the original. Like, in the original, you already learn about her and her mom traveling. You already learn about her and Simon traveling. You know the world sucks when it's under apocalypse. And I was always assumed to me that the mom, that happened to the mom. And that's why the mom left. So it was kind of, in my eyes, a little bit redundant. And also kind of expected and not in a good way. I like stories that have the inevitable expecting of things where you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And like, in hindsight, that makes a lot of sense, but I didn't expect it until the moment. But in this case, I was like, yeah, I kind of expected it the whole time. So I felt like they could have done something a little bit new and different with that. But I take that as a grain of salt because in the time that they like skipped over that stuff, they got to spend more on like the relationship and the songs, which I honestly like a little bit more. So there's that. 2 negatives, 1 positive, but the positive is really good. This was a very musical episode. I wrote down all the songs because honestly some of them I forgot about until I rewatched the episode and relooked at the songs like on YouTube and stuff. Some of them, I'll admit, I have on a playlist I've been watching on repeat and listening to so many times. So at the end of this, I'll tell you my favorite and my least favorite. But I'll go over story value for right now, because this is a review about the story, not just about good songs. If it was about good music, I'd be reviewing something else, like a music video. The first song is It's Funny. It's a pretty good song. I honestly forgot about it when until my rewatch, but looking back on it, it was pretty good. It helped to give kind of an entryway into the episode. It was kind of like a little bit mocking some of the Marceline attitude towards things. In terms of story, I don't think it carried that much. Like, as far as I could tell, the meaning from it wasn't like super integral to the plot or said much. So then, for our next song, I absolutely love this song so much. It is so freaking good. Okay, and that is Woke Up. So if you are a big Bubbling like fan, you ship them, and you haven't heard this song yet, oh my gosh, you need to stop right now and you need to just listen to this song. I don't even care if you watch the episode. Just listen to this song. It is so good. It is so good. Not only for the fact that it is a catchy, boppy song, but also because it does so much for the story. It basically spells out drama and a breakup between the two characters when they were really young, and overall, it is a really phenomenal song, and I absolutely endorse it because it does so much for the plot. It basically carries a whole scene. They don't even talk in the scene at all, really. They have like a few lines, but it's carried by this song, and it does so much for the story, and I really appreciate that from a song. I mean, the story value is so immense in this one. Like, it's a song of a relationship, and it's a breakup song. And then you get Red Light. This one for me is just a plot song. Like, it's not catchy. I wouldn't put it on a playlist. But it talks about the monotony of Marceline's lonely life, and I'll leave it at that. Then we get See Through. This is the Glass Boy song. I told you I don't like the character, and I don't like their singing voice. It just is not for me. It might be for other people, and it seems to be for other people, since some people have this as their favorite character. It might be an unpopular opinion, but it's not for me personally. But it does do a lot for plot, I think. Like, it reinforces some of that Marceline edgy drama of her past, and kind of picks that up and makes her see, yo, I'm embarrassing. So it does a lot for character development and that drives her to realize, like, I've been focusing on this thing when I need to be focusing on my relationship with my girlfriend. Arguably my favorite song out of the whole thing, Monster. This does a lot for plot on multiple levels. Like, Monster is such a good song. It's on my playlist. It is phenomenal. Like, that and Woke Up are two of my favorites. I'll have to decide at the end which is better. But in terms of story development, while Woke Up it tells a story, Monster tells two stories, like almost kind of three in a way, because it's like there's one, there's another, and there's the emotional effect from it that is almost in itself its own story. It tells the story of the monster, the tragic past between the monster that is bothering this village. It also tells about the love between Marceline and Bubblegum. Like, it is so beautiful and original, and something I've not heard from a love song recently. And that is just really great. And it's specific to the characters. It is specific to Marceline and Bubblegum. She is speaking to Bubblegum in this song, and yet, in and of itself, it could be a standalone song and you wouldn't even know. That's how good it is. And then on the threefold, it talks about emotional development and the character development of not only the relationship between Marceline and Bubblegum, but of Marceline's own emotional relationship with herself and her kind of growing up and developing as a person / vampire. So that kind of threefold development is just fantastic. The song is beautifully written. I am a sucker for a ukulele. And then lastly, we end with a meh song. But it's Eternity with You. I really wish this song was sung by Marceline, because then I feel like it'd be given a lot more power, but also then she gets to dance, and I don't know. But I really like this song in terms of development of the character, because it has, at the very beginning, some semblance of the edgy Marceline song. But towards the end, it gets a little bit more about emotions and true feelings and depth that Marceline has, and her love for Bubblegum. And that is so nice to see that kind of full forward progression from the song. So basically the song kind of like sums up the message of the whole episode, which is growth as a coming of age story and growth as a relationship, and how I want to spend an eternity with you. And that is just so beautiful. I can hear hate from people being like, I don't know about the storyline, but if you dare tell me you don't like the music from this episode, I'm gonna fight you, because there is absolutely no way you don't like at least one song from this episode. If you are a fan of musicals, if you are a fan of good music, if you're a fan of pop songs, if you're a fan of Marceline's music in general throughout the series, it's always been wonderful. And this, for me, is like the icing on the cake. Okay. In terms of my favorite, it's a hard choice. Again, I told you Woke Up and Monster are two of my favorite. But I'd probably say Monster just because of the story depth that's involved in it. And it is just really beautiful. And they also had King Princess do a cover of it, and it is so nice. Like, you get two forms of the song in one. And I mean, to some degree, it's like a little bit of fan service, but I really appreciate that. So, let's talk about criticisms, and let's talk about audience. Do I think this was for the intended audience of the original series, in that it was for kids of that caliber? No. If I was a child and I were to watch this, I'd like it, but it probably wouldn't be my favorite. I don't know if it had, like, enough of the humor, and it maybe was a little bit more serious on the relationship and the emotional aspect, that I don't know if kids would be able to fully enjoy, if that makes sense. I think maybe towards, like, a little bit of a teen audience, this is great. But I think towards, like, the middle school audience that I remember watching Adventure Time in, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it would hit the same. But in terms of an audience that is the older one, like me, who watched the original series, and has now grown up, and seeing this episode, it is extremely amazing. Like, I really, really like this episode. As somebody who has been a long-time Adventure Time fan, I've seen the whole series. I watched it a bunch when I was younger. So I've been, like, a fan since the start of it. And it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's a coming-of-age story with relationships and two of my favorite characters. And for me, as somebody that's 21 years old, seeing that coming-of-age story reminds me of me, who've watched that show and how far I've come as well. And I just really like that parallel between myself and the show, which may or may not be intentional, but I think is nice even if it's not intentional. So for the audience, I think it gears a little bit more towards an older audience, preferably one that has seen the original series and is able to grasp all of the nuances of it. As a standalone episode, I would recommend this to a friend, but I think a lot of things would go over their head if they hadn't seen the original Adventure Time series. I have some friends that haven't seen it, and I just have recommended the music only. And I would recommend the music to everybody who enjoys that kind of thing. But overall, I would recommend that if you are an Adventure Time big fan, you've seen the whole series, you're going to like this episode, I think. If you haven't seen the whole series, I still think you'd like the episode. I still think it'd be good. I think some of the small things would fly over your head, but that's okay. And now I'm going to cover some of the critiques that I've heard and seen of this episode. Some of the critiques I've heard were saying, oh, well, this is just for a gay audience, and this is just for queer people to watch. And as a heterosexual whatever, I don't think the plot's good, and I don't like it. To which I would like to argue, what do you think about queer people who watch, like, the heteronormative plots? Like, do you think they just only consume queer content about relationships? My guess is no. My guess is not. That's probably not how it is for the whole queer community. I can't speak for the whole queer community, but my guess is that a majority of people don't just spend time watching only romantic things that involve showcasing themselves. So I expect equal respect from both parties in terms of that kind of stuff. And I don't think it's only for a queer audience. I think it's better for a queer audience. I think if you're somebody who's a part of the LGBTQ community, I think, and likes Adventure Time, I think you would absolutely love this episode and seeing some amazing representation, I think, in my opinion, my humble opinion. I think it's really good representation because it shows a real relationship from a lot of the LGBTQ plus content that I've consumed, it tends to lean itself towards the problem being that they're gay to some extent. And either it being a conflict with the family, a conflict with a friend, an inner conflict about how they like certain people. That tends to be the narrative I've seen. If you have some good recommendations, leave them down below. I'm always looking for recommendations for LGBTQ content. But that is primarily what I've seen, and this is very different to me. This is a normal relationship treated like a normal relationship. It has its breakups, it has its emotional faults, it has beautiful moments in it all together, and none of them are caveated or piggybacked on the premise that it's because they're gay. It's just because they're characters, and it's because they're together. It doesn't matter that they're two female characters. None of that matters. It's just a relationship. And I really admire that. From a lot of content that I see, it tends not to be the plotline that is focused on, which is a bit sad for me. But that is the one argument I would like to parry and push to the side. Well, I'd also like to admit that the plot line isn't fantastic. Like I said, I like one out of like the 3 plot lines that are there. So I mean, for me, that plot line carries the whole episode. But I guess for others, it might be less so. So I can understand a little bit of a lower rating because of that. But I will not understand you completely dissing the whole episode overall, including music, including animation, including character development, just because it is a gay couple and you're not gay. I will not accept that. If you have any critiques of your own, leave them in the comments down below so that I can see them and let you know what I think or just what other people think. I just like to see opinions. So, yeah. Overall, what would I rate this episode? I'd rate this episode probably an 8.5. And for me, that's a really high rating because I really enjoyed the music, I really enjoyed the 2 characters, but I can't necessarily give it higher marks because some of the other side plots kind of get a little bit lacking and not as much development in some aspects. So there's that. But yeah, let me know. Do you disagree with my opinion? And do you agree with my opinion? Do you think it's even better than my opinion? Am I undervaluing it, do you think? Let me know. And also let me know if you'd like me to cover other cartoons or anything, really. I have seen... You leave a comment about it, I've probably seen it, and I could cover it. I mean, I'm a huge fan. I've been watching animation my whole life. So, that's that. I'm gonna end off the video there, because I'm tired of talking so much. Yeah, I hope you liked it. I hope it's well organized, and I was concise and clear enough about things. But I'm always looking to improve, so go ahead and let me know what I can improve on. This is a new type of video for me, so I haven't really done a review of this sort since Wonder Woman, so who knows. That's all that I have, so I'll see you next week with another video. Bye!